invites out.
Can we get what's going on with the Huddle Sports Network?
It's working.
I'm getting a notice that it's not. Ah, well.
I figured it out.
Okay.
That's another StreamYard thing. Just so you know. There. Share straight to the page.
See that run? To ice the game? Yeah, what a run. He's him, right? Josh Allen, that dude is him.
Surprise.
That's what this show needs. More of me. I love it. What a great job by our producer, Russell Wayne. Hello, everyone. It is Monday night. It is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That means this is the Main Event Football Show. I'm Main Event Mike. I am your host for the next hour. We're going to be talking about that glorious Jaguars beatdown that happened yesterday at the hands of the Detroit Lions. We're also going to look ahead to next week's game against the Indianapolis Colts, who sit at 5-6, and will be hosting the Lions at home this week. We're going to talk about Brad Holmes and what a Jedi master he is. And we're also going to field your comments from the comment section. So be sure to let your voice be heard and join the conversation. We definitely want to hear from you. We are broadcasting live into Lions Villain Squad on Facebook. Be sure to follow the page. Just crossed 58,000 followers this week. Why have billions when you can have? We'll save that for us. Anyway, moving on. We're also broadcasting live into YouTube. You can check it out at Villain Squad on YouTube. Also broadcasting live into Detroit Lions News Network, Podcast Network on Facebook. Joe Chapp and the boys, a big thank you. Also broadcasting live into Joe Chapp's YouTube channel, which is JC Sports on YouTube. And we're broadcasting live also on Roku television to our good friends at the Huddle Sports Network on Roku TV. Be sure to check us out on any of those places. Like, follow, and subscribe. There, I paid all the bills. Welcome, everyone, to the show. It is Victory Monday, and what a glorious victory it was. In case you missed the Villain Report this morning, we'll go over the high points of the box score. Jared Goff, a perfect passer rating of 158.3, had 4 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown, perfect, 11 targets, 11 catches. He had 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. David Montgomery with 2 touchdowns. We just put it on the Jaguars up and down. And I mean, there were so many great moments in the game for me. But for me, I think the greatest moment was the JMO touchdown. 64 yards across the field and up the sideline, just like the last time he took it to the house. Because flat out, the bottom line is no one can catch Waymo. When he gets a step on you, it's over. Over. And if you don't believe me, just watch the replay of the Jacksonville game. Watch the replay of the game before that where he took it to the house. Across the field and up to just a simple crossing pattern, folks. You see 100 of them every week in the NFL. And the linebacker or the safety gets them after about a 12, 16, maybe 22-yard gain. Well, those guys who normally tackle those guys are a step behind Waymo. And he turns the corner and he's gone. Okay? This is exactly what Brad Holmes envisioned when he went all the way up to 12 to draft a player he knew wasn't going to play the first year. And he received so much flack. And trust me, nobody gave him more flack than me. I said, look, even if he's a great high-end wide receiver too, is that worth a 12th overall pick? Well, as of yesterday, I have reversed my stance on that. Brad Holmes, you once again make me eat crow because Waymo is a weapon, an absolute weapon, and we're going to see more of this. And if teams have to even scheme a little bit to stop him, that is going to open up our all-pro on the other side in Amon-Ra St. Brown, our Pro Bowl young tight end or Sam Laporta, our Pro Bowl running back there, Jahmyr Gibbs, who made the Pro Bowl last year, by the way, and David Montgomery, who's one of the most solid backs in the league and the number one back when it comes to breaking tackles. Yesterday, the Detroit Lions had 196 yards on the ground. Okay? 196 yards. There's not a whole lot anybody can do about that when you are running the ball that effectively. Time of possession, folks, in the game yesterday, the Detroit Lions had the ball for 39 minutes. Jacksonville, 21 minutes. That's over an entire quarter where we just had the ball, even if you had Trevor Lawrence in there. Hell, I don't care if you had Tom Brady in there. If he's standing on the sideline, he can't hurt you. 39 minutes to 21 minutes on the exact same number of drives. A great stat here, you see third down. Lions 6 for 10 on third down, but they were also 3 for 3 on fourth down. So you can add 3. That makes that 9 out of 10, folks. The only drive they didn't score on was the final drive when they were in victory formation. Jack Fox did not punt in the game yesterday. An outstanding win by the Detroit Lions all the way around. Offensively, defensively. The catch by Waymo was by far my favorite part of the game. I want you to put it in the comments and tell me what was your favorite play of the game. What was your oh my God moment in the game yesterday? The interception by Kirby Joseph, I don't think anybody's really spent a lot of time on it. He absolutely wrestled that ball away, got 2 feet inbounds before he went out. Just a outstanding play. We're going to talk about Kirby Joseph, the young safety for the Detroit Lions, at length today, in fact, but not right now. We're still talking about this victory. The defense showed up as well. They only allowed 41 yards on the ground by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, Jacksonville stinks. I'll give you that. But you know what? Jacksonville had 7 games this year that were 1-score games, and they were 1-6 in those games. The Lions know exactly how that feels. Our 2021 season, we had that exact same stat. Out of 7-game stretch that was 1 score, we were 1-6. Okay? It doesn't mean it's not a good team. But the Lions would have beat anyone yesterday. Okay? 41 yards total rushing, they held them to. Made them one-dimensional, made them have to throw the ball, and that had to be Michael McConkle Jones under center. All around, totally dominant performance, 645 yards to 170 yards. The first time since 1979 a team has outgained another team by that big of a margin. Let's go into the comments and see who we got now. Welcome everyone to the show. Davey in the show. Jordan, happy 8th Victory Monday in a row. Great call, Jordan. Elise Memes, she's the queen of memes. Check out her page. She's a super villain who really is a good friend of the show. I really appreciate you watching, Elise. Thank you so much. Our good friend Smoking Jeremy B says, what up, though? Because he's from Flint. That's why he says that. Joseph Oskin says, speed kills. Darn right. J-Mo, even with a repaired ACL, Brad Holmes knew this kid was special. His skill set is something you cannot teach. You can't teach speed. For crying out loud. Chad, hi everyone. Rehab is completed. AA meeting in 20 minutes. Oh, Chad, congratulations, my friend. Joseph also says congratulations. Chad, that's great news, bro. I'm afraid it may affect your takes, but we'll take them anyway. Sue Penn in the house says, happy winning Monday. May we please have another one next week. No Lions. I think it's going to be a given there, Sue. We do play the Indianapolis Colts, who are 5-6, and we're going to get into that later in this show. But I think it's a given. Even if we play as bad as we did in Houston, we're still going to beat this team. I'm 100% confident. I'll give you a sneak peek of that conversation. The Lions have opened as only a 7.5-point favorite on the road. That's a pretty good spread in the NFL, but not like 14 last week. So I fully expect the Lions to cover that 7.5, and we will talk about that for sure. Jordan says, seeing Smith get his first sack as a Lion. Yeah, well, you know what stinks? They only give him a half a sack, Jordan. They gave him a half a sack, which is fine with me. But it would have been nice to say he had one whole sack as a Lion. But totally agree. Totally agree. Great to see a sack in the box score for the Detroit Lions without Aiden Hutchinson. Bradley is in the house. He says, all roads in the north go to Detroit. Lions all day, every day. Such a great call out, Bradley. All roads in the north. Such a great call out. Green Bay Packers win yesterday. They rip out the hearts of Chicago Bears fans again on a blocked field goal. So they won. They kept up with the Joneses, or the Campbells, if you like. They kept pace with the Lions by winning. So did the Minnesota Vikings. They beat, was it Tennessee? Whoopie-doo. But they still won. And they kept pace with the Lions as well. So even though the Lions sit at 9-1, the lead is tenuous in this division. And here's why. Look, folks, I know that if the playoffs were to start today, there would be 3 teams from the NFC North in the playoffs. Minnesota, Green Bay, and Detroit would all be in the playoffs if they started today by virtue of their record. However, that's only because they haven't played each other yet this year. Hardly at all. In the final 7 weeks, all of the divisional games in the NFC North are crammed in. Detroit will play 4 out of 7 divisional games. Green Bay will play 3 out of 7 divisional games. Chicago will only play 2, but they're already almost out of it. Minnesota will play 4 divisional games. So that's going to even out the win-loss record in this division. Do I think the Lions are going to sweep the division? No. Are they good enough to? Yes, but I don't think they will. The NFC North is tough. The teams don't like each other. It's hard to beat a team twice. We saw that last year when the Packers came in on Thanksgiving and jumped all over us. And we know the Bears have the horses to get it done. It's just, do they have the coaching? Can they put it together? The Bears, the Vikings, and the Packers will all be out for blood against the Lions. Do I think we're going to sweep the NFC West? No, I think that we're going to lose if we go out when we go out to San Francisco in Week 15. It's okay to disagree with me, folks. It's okay. But I think that when I look at the schedule going down, so as I said, Detroit 3 non-division games. This is going to come down to the non-divisional games to really separate each team in this division. So Detroit Lions play 3 teams outside the division in the final 7, and they are next week at Indy, then at home on December 15th against the Buffalo Bills, and then week 15 in San Francisco. So San Francisco, Buffalo, and Indy. If we were to lose 2 of those 3, you probably wouldn't be surprised. Okay? But we get Chicago twice. And then we get Minnesota and Green Bay again, who we've already beaten on the road. So 12 wins seems like a lot at this point for the Detroit Lions. Possibly more. On the flip side of that, the Green Bay Packers, their non-divisional games, are you paying attention? Here's the Green Bay Packers non-divisional games in the last 7 weeks. The resurging Miami Dolphins, now with Tua. They are fortunate enough to get Miami at home in the cold weather in Green Bay. Then they go at Seattle. And then they get the New Orleans Saints at home. So a little bit lighter than what the Lions get. And then if we look at the Minnesota Vikings, their non-divisional games, Arizona, Atlanta, and Seattle. A little bit lighter than the Packers schedule. You can see that as the order that we finished last year, the schedule makers, because we finished higher, we have a harder schedule. Believe me, when they made the schedule, they didn't expect Jacksonville to be as bad as they are. Okay? So the easiest road is for the Minnesota Vikings. Chicago Bears, you got to play Detroit twice. And you got to play the Niners. And you got to play Seattle. And you got to play Green Bay. You really, really needed to beat New England last week. You really did. Because your schedule's brutal. You had one in the palm of your hand, Chicago, yesterday to get one against Green Bay and end that 11-game drought or 10-game drought, whatever it was, some absurd number they beat you in a row. You let that one get away, and you lost to New England. Now your remaining schedule is Detroit twice, San Francisco, Seattle, and Green Bay. And you get one at home against Minnesota, who will probably beat you also. So it was a good preseason for you, Chicago. You were undefeated in the preseason. It was a pretty good, 4-2 start you started? Caleb Williams looking like the real deal. But then the Hail Mary in Washington kind of broke you. And then in the next game, DJ Moore walks off the field before the play is over. There's dissension in the locker room. The players come to the owner and say, fire the offensive coordinator and bench the quarterback. Well, they did half of that. They fired Shane Waldron, brought up Thomas Brown, the passing game coordinator, and made him the interim OC in Chicago. This usually is the prelude to a head coaching change. We will see if Matt Eberflus can run that gauntlet that I just read off to you, the schedule that they have, and see if he's able to keep his job. I don't really see it happening. Let's see what we've got in the comments here. All roads in the north. Yes, that's what sent me on that tangent, Bradley. Thank you so much. Our good friend Jeremy B., you can find him on the Roku Huddle Sports Network. Bears are repeating Bears history. 3 coaches have made that same exact speech due to a missed 40-plus yard field goal to end the game. Wow, what a great stat, Jay. I love that. That's an awesome stat. There's Mark Pressman, Matt Nagy, and now Eberflus. And that's not the only similarities. They also fire the OC mid-season. And then the whole coach gets fired at the end of the year. And then they draft a quarterback who has to learn a new system over 3 years, over and over. And then they send him off to Pittsburgh. That's what happens. I love that call out. Lions might lose once. To who, Bradley? Who? Are they going to lose at home against Green Bay? Are they going to lose at home against Josh Allen? I'll tell you what, you watch that Josh Allen and Kansas City game yesterday, wouldn't be a stretch to think the Lions could lose to that guy. Did you see that fourth quarter run to ice the game? Or excuse me, not fourth quarter, yes, but fourth down run to ice the game by Josh Allen? That's a tough team. We're at home against Buffalo. Then we go on the road at Chicago. And then we're at San Francisco. That's weeks 13, 14, and 15. We could lose two out of three of those games. We get Green Bay at home. I predicted at the beginning of the year we would sweep the Green Bay Packers. That was my bold prediction at the beginning of the season. Here at the Villain Squad, every year we make bold predictions before the season. Mine was that we would sweep the Green Bay Packers and the Saints would fire their coach mid-season. So far, I'm 1-0. We'll see what happens with this Packers matchup that's looming large. It's already looming large, isn't it? It seemed like that game was a couple weeks ago, which it was. But here it comes back around in 3 more right after Thanksgiving. We're going to have to play on a short week at home against the Green Bay Packers. Oh, look at our producer bringing it up. What a great call out. Yes, it's very interesting at this time of the season and imagining how it could shake out. What do you think? How do you think it's going to shake out? Oh, Steve in the house. He's the best Packer fan around. He says 11-0. 11-0, Steve. What are we talking about? That's 11-0 against the Bears in the last 11 games. That's what he's talking about. Jordan says, Packers and Vikings win keeps our division the toughest in the league. Yes, sir. It's the cumulative pride of the black and blue division. Right. But is it going to stay that way after all that carnage I just explained to you? Chicago has to play Minnesota and Detroit twice and Green Bay again. Minnesota, Green Bay, we all are just going to be cannibalizing each other. Bradley says, Lions might lose once. Yeah. Jeremy says, I think the only game we might lose is versus the Bills. Really? I mean, San Francisco yesterday lost to Seattle, and they were 6.5-point favorites. That defense is definitely not what it was last year. So I predicted an L at the San Francisco game. I hope I'm wrong, and there's a very good chance that I might be. And they're not going to beat us, Corey says, if they played like they did against Seattle. That's right. J-Mommy in the house. At least somebody's got a good take around here. Lions win. Chiefs and Ravens lose. Definitely a good day. Today was a good day, to quote Ice Cube. That's right. Bradley says maybe we lose to the Bills. Jordan says I don't see us sweeping the NFC West. In other words, we would lose to the Niners because we've already beat the other 3. Buffalo could be a tough one, though. Last year, we swept 2 whole divisions, the NFC South and the AFC West. This year, we're on pace to sweep 2 whole divisions, the NFC North and the NFC West. So that would be truly incredible. And believe me, this team's deep enough to do it. Even we lost Aiden Hutchinson for crying out loud, and our defense seems to be stronger. There seems to be more fresh legs everywhere. Did you guys notice that? This defense was energized. Maybe it's because they weren't on the field so much. James Houston is playing good. Take that to all you that said he was washed. He's been playing great. He's at least played himself into another contract with another team next year at the bare minimum. We've already waived that guy, and he cleared waivers and came back. And then had 8.5 sacks in 11 games. Then he had a horrible injury and an incredible tough surgery. And he doesn't seem to have the same burst. He doesn't have the same twitch coming off the line, that bend that made him famous, that generated those 8.5 sacks. He doesn't seem to have that anymore. So we're playing to his strengths, which is speed. He's got so much open field speed. We saw that on display yesterday. And they got him playing a hybrid linebacker role in the defensive scheme. We saw that yesterday. Bubba says, Lions are going to smoke the Bills. Good call.
What?
Steve says, I'm going to Green Bay and pulling a Lou Holtz on the defense. I'll be grabbing some face masks and pulling them off the field. What? You are not going to Green Bay. Jeremy said it's also why we don't let up until a team quits and puts it in their backups. We're beating bad teams into submission. That's right. You know what? After blowing a 17-point lead in the title game, who could blame us? Jay Melby says Packers barely beat the Bears. As long as the Lions stay focused, they'll win the game. And they should. We beat them by 10 in their house, and it wasn't even that close. It took 30 yards in penalties for them to get a garbage touchdown at the end. We're putting it on them. And to Bradley's point, we lost Brian Branch in the second quarter and still beat him. I love this. Jeremy, newsflash. Sean McVay announces that their $19 million left guard, Jonah Jackson, is benched. Well, good. Cut him. We'll bring him back. Damn right. He'll get back into this culture and start kicking ass again. Because if you didn't see Dan Campbell's press conference, that's a guy you want to play for. And another guy that you want to play for is our producer. He's behind the scenes making the best Lions talk show at night on the internet with all the tricks and the stuff we do. He is the maestro. Please welcome to the program my compadre, Mr. Russell Wayne.
What's going on?
Good evening, Russ. What do you think about all that dribble that just came out of my mouth?
I mean, this team is a team to be thankful for, and that's what I really wanted to be able to stress to people and get a point across. I'm going to try to get it across all week. It's like, you know, we come on here, we talk some trash now and again, and I get it. That's fun. But we need to take a step back and take this in. What's happening right now? This isn't just a good Lions team. This could be an all-time offense. And oh, it's too quick. You better pause. I'm not pausing. I've had 30 years of discomfort. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Whatever. But right now, it looks the way that it looks. And this team's playing. This team is built, and we're built to stay. We're going to be better than Green Bay for the foreseeable future. They can't catch us. As good as they are, they won't be able to catch us.
Yep. We'll beat their ass. We don't care if they got one ass cheek and three toes. Good call, Kim. Jeremy says 15-2 is very possible. 14-3 is most likely. Yeah, but 16-1 is still on the table, Jeremy. It's still on the table. And the way they played yesterday, I mean, I don't see anybody beating that team I saw yesterday. And I don't see anybody beating this guy right here, too. This is Kirby Joseph, and Russell's going to play this for you guys. I want you to pay attention to what he's saying here and what the questions are. And I want to talk about this guy. Like I said, that Kirby interception yesterday was outstanding. He now leads the NFL with 7 interceptions. He has 48 tackles total. And he is definitely a front runner for a Pro Bowl nod at free safety. So let's hear the interview now with Kirby Joseph after the game yesterday.
How exhilarating is it to beat a team that bad? I mean, second time this year, you guys put up 50.
For real? That's the second time? I know it was like third time. Did we do somebody else like that? We got the ass though. Shit. We got the ass.
Cowboys probably should have been 50.
If you really not coming ready to play, like we gonna give you BTA for sure.
Do you think that's what it is? I'm not coming because I know Xavier McKinney said earlier that you guys seem like you're trying to embarrass people. I don't know.
We just play football. If you're not coming ready to win, then we gonna get your ass whooped. Like if you really not coming ready to play, like we gonna give you BTA for sure.
Do you think that's what it is? I'm not coming because I know Xavier McKinney said earlier that you guys seem like you're trying to embarrass people. I don't know.
We just play football. If you're not coming with it to win, then we gonna get your ass whooped. Like,
there it is. If you're not coming with it to win, then you're going to get your ass whooped.
The Lions have produced three victories with a 35-point differential.
Get that guy out of here. We don't see that.
Get that guy out of here.
He makes money for talking shit. I don't. Let's move on. I love this call here by Jeremy. Kirby Joseph, 15 career interceptions since his first game as a rookie. Guess what? That's more than every other safety in the league. Since he's come into the league, he has more INTs than any safety, and that's what Brad Holmes saw in this kid at Illinois. A ball hawk. Guess what? He's a really good open field tackler as well. And that's just, I think that's something the Lions have made him better than he was in college. That was the knock on him coming out of college, that he wasn't a good tackler in the open field. And he is an outstanding tackler in the open field now. So we got a gem here in Kirby Joseph at safety. And guess what? He was drafted in the 22 draft with Hutch, and Hutch made the Pro Bowl. No other Detroit Lion from that draft has made the Pro Bowl yet. Kirby Joseph might make the Pro Bowl this year. Jameson Williams might actually make the Pro Bowl this year. It's not likely, especially with the suspensions, but it is possible. Josh Paschal, there's a lot of there's 7 weeks left in the season, and then there's the playoffs. So if Kirby Joseph can make the playoff and make the Pro Bowl and add to the list of Brad Holmes draft picks that have made the Pro Bowl, it will only make the mystique of Brad Holmes grow. It'll only become more legendary. In 3 drafts, Brad Holmes has drafted Amon-Ra St. Brown, Pro Bowl. Penei Sewell, Pro Bowl, All-Pro. Amon-Ra St. Brown, also All-Pro. Jahmyr Gibbs last year made the Pro Bowl. Sam Laporta last year, Pro Bowl. Aiden Hutchinson, Pro Bowl. He also brought in a free agent by the name of Jared Goff, who made the Pro Bowl. He also signed a new free agent this year named Jake Bates. And Jake Bates right now is 14 for 14 on field goals. If he continues on this trajectory, that's another Pro Bowler that he brings in. David Montgomery, about to set the franchise record for consecutive touchdowns in a game for the Lions.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
I think he's got the longest streak in the NFL. He's putting up the kind of numbers that could get him to the Pro Bowl, a free agent signing. Jack Fox could probably make the Pro Bowl because he's the best punter in the league, but we just don't punt that much.
But they are.
That's going to hurt Jack Fox.
But they are.
Brian Branch, I promise you, is going to make a Pro Bowl this year. He leads the league in fines. Currently, he was just fined again for the last game. Let the bodies hit the floor when we're talking about Branch. I love that. Jack Campbell. Yeah, he leads the team in tackles, but every middle linebacker leads the team in tackles. But Jack Campbell is playing at a Pro Bowl level. He's recording double-digit sacks in every game. He could absolutely make the Pro Bowl this year. There's a guy over in Washington named Frankie Louvu who has been playing lights out. So Jack Campbell may not make it as a starter, but he's definitely a candidate for a backup spot on the Pro Bowl. So let's just assume for a minute. So those numbers I gave you, the players that he has drafted is 5. He has drafted 5 Pro Bowl players in 3 years. That is tied for the best that has ever been done. The Pittsburgh Steelers also drafted 5 Pro Bowl players in 3 years back in the 70s. To Russ's point, the all-time great Steelers teams of the 70s is the only other team to have this track record. And this just reinforces what Russell was just telling you. This isn't just an all-time great Lions team. This is potentially an all-time great team. But if you don't win the Super Bowl, you don't get to even be in the conversation. I'm sorry, the Buffalo Bills with Jim Kelly are definitely one of the all-time greatest teams, but they're never recognized as that. 4 consecutive Super Bowls, 4 consecutive AFC titles, and they're not even in the conversation of the greatest teams of all time because they never won the big one. And no matter how good this Detroit Lions team is, no matter how many Pro Bowl players Brad Holmes drafts, if we don't win a Super Bowl, we will not be in that conversation. The Chicago Bears only won 1 Super Bowl in 1985. And if you don't remember, just ask a Bear fan. He'll be sure to tell you in the first 5 minutes that they won the Super Bowl in 1985. But yet that team is always talked about in the conversation of the greatest teams of all time. In fact, it's my vote for the greatest team of all time would be the 1985 Chicago Bears. So until the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl, none of this means anything in the grand scheme. But it does mean that we have one of the greatest general managers that has ever controlled a team or controlled a draft in NFL history. We have one of the greatest general managers in a three-year stretch. His record right now is tied for the most historic run by a GM in a 3-year span. It's only going to take one of those players I mentioned to make a Pro Bowl for him to beat that record. Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Jack Campbell, those three are draft picks. Jack Fox, Jake Bates, these are players he brought in. Actually, Jack Fox, I think, was already here. But he did re-sign him. He did make him the highest paid punter in the league. That's a GM move, my friends. That he might not get credit for it in this context, but it's still a feather in his hat. And Jake Bates, he was 21 of 28 in the UFL. At the beginning of the season, I was like, what are you doing? Why does everyone believe in this guy so much? Well, now I get it. Now I get it right. Make me shut up and say something smart.
Coaching. I mean, I think that you say all smart stuff right there. I think that it comes down to coaching. And the reason I do think it's sustainable, the reason why I'm saying enjoy the ride, because these players that you just spoke of are not in their prime yet. They are approaching their prime. You're seeing an all-pro version of Brian Branch that has not reached his prime yet. You are seeing a Pro Bowl type of player in Jack Campbell that is a player that has not reached his prime yet. Jahmyr Gibbs is a Pro Bowl, probably an all-pro player this year that has not reached his prime yet. You see where I'm going with this? This isn't going anywhere. This is going to stay. I gotta keep on bringing this up until I'm blue in the face, Mike. 2025. This is the 2025 roster already here. 41 players with $62 million available, and that's after all of these extensions. We ain't going nowhere. That's why this is such a epic moment in time. I just want to enjoy it. And, Super Bowl or not, I want to see the Super Bowl. That way it's checked off the list like all of this other stuff. And then we can just start having some fun every year. And let's
like
build
a says, we're only getting started. You just showed it right there. The whole team's coming back.
I mean, we got these half those guys you want to take it even further, go right into 2026. You still got 32 of those. 32 of the guys that are here right now are signed now through 2026.
And all indications are that this upcoming draft in 2025 is supposed to be a really weak draft. Like a lot of drafts are top heavy where there's really good players at the beginning and then it's a crapshoot from there on out. This draft's kind of the opposite. There's not a lot of star power at the top of the draft, but there's a lot of good talent in the back end where the Lions will inevitably be picking in the back end. And we do have a limited number of picks. We have a first, a second, a fourth, I believe, and a sixth. Only 4, is that right? Only 4 picks that we have in this coming draft because we've traded them away and such.
Yep.
But to your point, Russ, what you're just showing us, there aren't hardly that many roster spots on this team.
Right. So
can anyone say dynasty?
It wouldn't surprise me with what you just said, Mike, because there's not going to be a lot of draft picks. They're probably going to fill a lot of the back end holes with free agent guys that are really good because they have the money to do that. And I could see them moving up into that first round again to get the one blue chip guy that's going to jump in and be it and trade where we only have like 2 or 3 guys from the draft on this team. I could see a draft like that because where are you going to put them? What are you going to draft the guy in a round that ain't going to make the team?
Right. Package up a couple of those picks, move up and get one of those impact players.
Right.
Absolutely. And that obviously would be a defensive end. That would be an edge rusher.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of holes. You can fill them all in free agency too. We're a player away type of team for the next 4 years. Like,
And we
don't
now
even
have
worry about it.
Zadarius Smith. We now have Zadarius Smith, who made a Pro Bowl last year, by the way. And we've got him next year as well.
Yep.
And then Hutch will be back. It's going to be uber dangerous in 2025. You're watching
Right.
the Main Event Football Show right here on the Main Event on the Villain Squad Network. Be sure to follow us, like, subscribe if you like this content. Just click in the little like emoji or the heart emoji. It helps us. You might not think it does. It might be an inconvenience for you. But if I made you laugh, if I made you scratch your head, if I made you think at all, just reach over and click that like button because it does help us. Be sure to follow us over on the Facebook page if you haven't already. One Funky Lions fan is in the chat. He says, this draft, I want left tackle Overton. He's 6'5", 280 from Bama with a big motor. Guy's perfect. We just signed Taylor Decker to a 3-year contract, Funky. What's up? What'd I miss?
Me, I'm just like, here's where we are right now. What are we doing right now? What are we doing right now? We're talking about, I mean, it's a fun draft talk, but we are so used to talking draft by the time November, December hits around. Here we are talking draft, and we're freaking 9-1.
We're 9-1, and we're talking about the draft. That's a good point.
It just hit me, and it was just really funny to me.
Well, if you do tune into this network on Thursdays, we do what's called Prediction Thursday at 10 a.m. on the Lions Villain Report with Russell Wayne. And this week, I picked 9 out of 13, and Russell picked 8 out of 13. And we have one more game to pick this week, and we're going to do it right now. And that is tonight's Monday night game. I know I'll be watching it. It's the Houston Texans at the Dallas Cowboys plus 7.5 points. I am going to let Russ make his pick. I want you to put your pick in the comments as well. Remember, folks, when you make this pick, you are conceding the 7.5 points. We're not just picking straight up. If you're going to take Houston, you got to believe they're going to cover by more than a touchdown. It's in Dallas. Is the Honolulu Blue Flu going to catch up to the Texans? Or is Dallas and Cooper Rush going to get in the win column, or are they going to stay winless at home? Russell Wayne, if you are going to decide the fate, either you are going to tie me, or I am going to win my first week against you ever. Who are you taking? Houston at Dallas plus 7.5.
So, do you really want to give me this much power? Like, is this are you sure? Because I think that the right answer that is going to make you lose, I don't want to leave you with the wrong answer. But since you're making me do this, I'm going to go against what I usually say. I'm usually a person that says I don't like points, but this Houston Texans team, I don't think that we knocked this team down for the count. I think CJ Stroud is an up-and-coming quarterback. I think that this run game can get going against this Dallas Cowboy team. Oh, yeah. And I think this Dallas Cowboy team is a freaking dumpster fire. And it would just make me feel so good to see what is going to happen tonight, which is a double-digit beatdown by the Houston Texans. So I'm going to take the Texans minus the 7.5 points.
Wow. All right.
And that's what I'm saying.
You can run on the Cowboys. You can run on the Cowboys all day long. I think they're 31st in the league against the run. Joe Mixon could go off in this game.
I won't feel bad if you pick with me because you would win.
Look, no, I'm the guy that took them last. I took the Cowboys last week against the Eagles, and they got beat 34-6 at home. I do think that they are going to look better than they did against Philly last week. I really do. And I think 7.5 points is good. Houston might still win the game, but I like the 7.5 points. I'm okay with it. I'm marking it down. Russell takes Houston.
Okay, I'll give you a pass, though, Mike. I give you a pass. Like, I'm going to give you a pass because I know that you said, hey, I just want to pick against you, but I want to give you the right answer. I do want to give you the right answer, and I want to give you it because you're up by one, aren't you? Aren't you? Are you ahead by
up
one?
by one. You can only tie with a win, which we have tied before, but I've never actually beaten you.
Right. So if you pick the same as me, then technically
I can guarantee the win. I could guarantee the win. All I have to do is pick the same as you.
And the thing is, I'm giving you that pass just because you can guarantee the win, and congratulations on your win if you want to do it that way. Because, I mean, do you really want to take that dumpster fire of a Cowboys team, even if they gave you plus 13.5? Like, honestly, like I'm giving you a free pass.
I would take it with 13.5.
I'll concede the victory because I'll take it all day long. At 9, I'll take 9 out of 14 all day long. The Vegas people will love betting my bets because they love getting 9 out of 14. That's fine. And you would be beating me with a 10 out of 14.
Everybody agrees with you, my friend. Everyone agrees with you. Steve agrees with you. Davey agrees with you. Jay Mommy agrees with you. And you know what? Everybody's usually wrong.
Oh, you want to go for the landslide victory? Go for it, baby. Yeah,
I'm going for it. I don't have a need to win that bad to just simply
okay. If you believe it,
just to ensure the win. It'll be
if
more
you
fun.
believe it.
And I hate the Cowboys too, so I'll be rooting for them to lose and cover the spread.
Oh, I'm gonna feel bad for you, Mike. I'm gonna feel bad because these Cowboys. You know, Jerry Jones letting you down again. I mean, his existence just kind of is a letdown. But you know,
right.
Oh, Jerry Jones, we got our righteous revenge
so there you go.
Your trash team.
The Monday night games have been picked. We're in the books. Be sure to check us out 10 a.m. On Thursday mornings for Prediction Thursday. We'll pick next week's games. But this right here, the Main Event Football Show, is a weekly show. So we've got to look ahead to next week on Monday. We're looking ahead to the Indianapolis Colts. Lions will travel to Indianapolis to play the 5-6 Colts. They are starting Anthony Richardson after a come from behind victory last week against the New York Jets. Got a little juice, this team does. We know they can run the ball. They have Jonathan Taylor. They have some pretty good players on defense. The Indianapolis Colts rank 20th in offense, and they rank 28th in defense. Whereas the Lions, and this is just yards. This isn't point differential. This is just in yards gained and yards yielded. The Lions rank 3rd in offense and 12th in defense. And again, Indy, 20th in offense and 28th in defense. But like I said, the Colts got a little juice. They won yesterday. They had 2 weeks ago, they benched their quarterback, Anthony Richardson, in favor of AARP Joe Flacco. And Joe lost 2 games in a row. And now they've benched him again. And Shane Steichen, the coach of the Colts, said it's going to be Joe Flacco from here on out. And then after losing 2 games, guess what? It's not Joe Flacco from here on out. Anthony Richardson's back in, which I don't think was really fair. You know who Joe Flacco lost to? Was Buffalo and Minnesota. 2 really good defenses. Joe Flacco lost. And now it seems like this is a quick trigger to me. They go back to Anthony Richardson after he pulled himself from a game 3 weeks ago because he was winded. But they did get a little juice with the victory, and they are going to be at home, and they are going to be giving their A game to the Detroit Lions. The Lions open as a 7.5-point favorite against the Indianapolis Colts. We are going to make that prediction on Thursday, but it's okay for you to put it in the chat right now. What do you think? Do you think Detroit will cover that 7.5 against Indy? Seems like an all-day thing to me. So go ahead and put that in the chat while I continue to ramble on. Well, let's point this out here. The Detroit Lions. Ramble on.
Yeah.
And now the time is now to sing my song. This week, Indy has Detroit 9-1 arguably the best team in the NFL. After that, though, and sitting at 5-6, let's say they lose this, they're 5-7. They still have a real chance to make the playoffs, folks. This is why they put Anthony Richardson in. Let him lose to the Jets. Let him lose to the Lions. Let's get him ready for this stretch that we got coming after the Lions, and I'm going to read it to you right now. They get the New England Patriots, and then they get a bye week. So they only have 6 games remaining on their schedule, one of which is against the Lions. They have New England, then they have a bye week. Then they have the Denver Broncos. Then they have the Tennessee Titans. Then they have the New York Giants. And then they have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Combined, those teams have less than 10 wins, right around 10 wins. Just doing the math real quick. Denver is the only real team on that is more than a 50% chance that they're going to lose. They will be favored against New England. They'll be favored against Tennessee, the Giants, and Jacksonville. So you know that they are looking at that as 4 games they could win. That would give them 9 wins and probably a path to the playoffs. So they can afford to lose to the Lions. They may have looked at this as an L on their schedule when they were making the schedule at the beginning of the year. And that's okay, because there's so many cream puffs coming down the pike behind them. They have a legitimate chance to make the playoffs, especially in a division that's pretty weak. Houston has some tough games on their schedule, so they could falter. And Indianapolis could even win this division with 9 wins. My point to all of this is Detroit should run over this team. Because by halftime, if they're down, they're going to be, well, we still got 4 weeks. We're letting our young quarterback develop. Let's face it, Anthony Richardson, since high school, has only played 24 football games. College and pro, he's only played 24 games, which is 24 more games than I played since high school. I get that. But we should run over this team while this quarterback learns the ropes. And did you see any of the highlights from him, Anthony Richardson, last week? Putting his shoulder down, running into people, sacrificing his body, trying to be Superman to win the game. He gets a rushing touchdown at the end for the win. Good for you, Anthony Richardson. That is a path to RG3 land. That is a path to early retirement. That is not proper development of what they want from you in Indianapolis. Use Lamar Jackson and see how when he came into the league, he did the same thing. But now, Lamar Jackson is a deadly thrower of the football. Deadly. You have the skill set also, Anthony Richardson. Don't sacrifice yourself. Don't play dumb. Get the reps, get better, and take your team to the playoffs. Because the schedule allows for it. Russell, any comments on that stuff before we start saying goodbye to everyone today?
No, I mean, I'm going to be getting to I'm going to take a deep dive in on this team, and then the Hump Day preview is going to be Wednesday. I'm going to really take a look at this team. But at first glance, it's like I could see Anthony Richardson doing some spectacular stuff in this game and maybe keeping pace. But the story is that defense against our offense, and our offense should just be able to score anytime it wants against that defense. So it might be 14-14, but it'll end up being, like 41-21 or something like that when it's all said and done. They can't. He's maybe a good quarterback, but eventually he's going to make a mistake. You have to be an accurate quarterback that's willing to dink and dunk its way down the field and take the short stuff against this type of defense that the Lions play, and you have to be able to go the long way. And I don't think that type of quarterback can do that.
And Jonathan Taylor, their running back, is one of the best in the league. Okay, he's good. He's a hard runner. But no one runs on the Lions, folks. Sorry. And to Russ's point, they do have some really good players on defense. DeForest Buckner, Kenny Moore, Zaire Franklin. These are good players. They do have good talent on the defensive side of the ball. However, I think our defense is going to be able to shut them down because you can't run on the Lions. Anthony Richardson might be able to run on the Lions because we're going to have everything covered downfield and he's going to have to run. So he might get some yards between the 20s. But I think overall we hold this whole team to under 100 yards rushing and we win the game. J Mommy says 42-13. You think they'll get a couple of scores there, or is that just one and some field goals? Jeremy B says Houston wins by 14 against the Cowboys. Interesting. That would be 8. That would mean Russ would cover. You're watching the Main Event Football Show. We're here every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also have a group. It's called Lions Main Event. That's the name of the group. And that's where you can go and put a post up. Put your feelings up. Put a picture of your cat. Dressed as a Detroit Lion, preferably. But you can put whatever you want there because it's a group that's free of spam. We have a great team that keeps it free of spam. And if you see something for sale in there, it's because I'm trying to sell it to you. No one else. If you'd like to sell something in there, you can get with us and we can make that happen. If you'd like to advertise on this program, you can be guilty by association. Get a hold of me at 810-620-2167. And I can go over it with you how affordable it can be to leverage the power of the villain. And you can be a sponsor of this show. And you can be a sponsor of the Villain Report every morning, Monday through Saturday. It's a heck of a lot more affordable than you think. In 2 weeks, we have a nice big sponsor coming on. Full Circle Realty, Dana Robinson, agent, will be our sponsor for the week of Thanksgiving. We'd like to thank her and her whole team at Full Circle Realty for stepping up and being guilty by association. It's been a pleasure being with you today. We appreciate everyone that's here in the chat, watching us live. Don't forget, we are official marketing partners of NFL Shop. You can scan that QR code we just saw on your screen there, or click the link that's in the comments. Christmas is around the corner. You know you've got an NFL fan on your list. Why not use our link to buy the swag? You can save 25%, and we get a little star on our paper. We get a little check from them for using our link. Leverage the power of the villain. We appreciate everyone. We even appreciate you if you are watching this on the recorded version in the feed. Please click the like button, click the heart button. Share our content if you'd like it. We welcome you to share our content. Faith, family, and football in that order. It's been a pleasure being here with you tonight. Next week, we'll be back talking about a victory over those Indianapolis Colts, hopefully. For all of us here at the Villain Squad, Russell Wayne included, I'm Main Event Mike saying, God bless each and every one of you. And I mean that. Peace out.